they gave me, well, they gave me this. So I had to bring my car to the shop today because I had a water leak. They gave me essentially an electric skateboard on wheels. Supposedly street legal. This thing is the smallest car I've ever driven, and I've driven some really small sedans, and it's got a lot of features that I'm just not used to. I am finding that I had a bit of anxiety when they included the charging cable for it. I know this is the wave of the future, and I'm totally okay with that because electric vehicles are the wave of the future. I just wasn't personally prepared today to start that adventure after dropping off my V6 SUV and getting this tiny little battery on wheels. But I will say it's a Chevy Bolt. Chevy Bolt. Volt is the hybrid, Bolt is the electric. Either way, it actually drives quite nicely. It's a little disconcerting coming from a gas engine where I don't know what is good fuel economy for this car. I have no grasp of what would be good fuel economy. So I'm watching the voltmeter on this thing, kind of like you would if your alternator was going bad and you knew you only have so long before you get to the house. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm afraid to do anything in this car. I'm afraid to charge my phone. I'm afraid to use the radio. I'm like, minimal things as much as possible, because added into all of that, there is apparently a feed shortage where I live. I raise rabbits, and I can't find their feed locally. I went out last night to buy what I typically buy, and it's completely gone again. So I'm having to cross state lines in a car I am totally unfamiliar with to go try to buy 200 pounds of rabbit feed. Now, the real fun situation in this is when they gave me this car, it said it had about 170 mile range on it before it needs to be charged. And I need to go 90 miles to this store and then 90 miles home, which means somewhere in the middle, I'm gonna have to plug this thing in. Well, I need to put this in here. Hey, electric vehicle manufacturers, like what you're doing? Cool. I need a bigger vehicle. Make me a truck or a large SUV. Maybe I could get behind this. Not read this. Plug in first. All right. These look to be the same. So, okay, it goes there. Okay. Connecting to vehicle. All right, now it's like a cell phone. Use the credit card reader. Okay. And now these screens really suck. All right. So it's 2/3 empty. An hour left to 80%. So this is something completely new to me. I'm charging my car. So thankfully, I was able to find a pay station here. Turns out that apparently other kinds of cars cannot use Tesla chargers. There is apparently a Tesla supercharger in town here, but I'm glad I looked into that before going there, because apparently there is a multitude of different plugs for cars, and this one uses what's called a CCS. So this is a learning experience. Now, I'm gonna go ahead in and get some groceries while my car gets fuel. So, my adventure with the electric car is just about over now. I got a call that my Santa Fe, well, it's ready. In other words, they know what's wrong with it, but unfortunately they can't fix it. So I'm gonna have to take it to a body shop and find out how much a rear piece of glass and a gasket's gonna cost to stop the water leak. But, you know, the folks at Murdoch GMC, they treat me pretty fair. So I have to say, I figured I would do the same. And I stopped off and I picked up a couple of dozen spud nuts, which apparently are a Utah thing, which is funny because you would think it would be an Idaho thing with the potatoes. We're close enough to essentially be the same thing, but they're potato flour donuts. And if you haven't tried one, when you make it out here, you definitely have to. Our particular chain is called Johnny O Spud Nuts. It is in Logan, Utah. They are not paying me to say this. I paid my own money for these donuts. But they're really good. And unfortunately, I'm on a diet, so I can't even enjoy one. So I hope the mechanics do, because I've looked for an excuse to come and buy donuts for a while now. So I'm going to live vicariously through those guys and take this little Bolt back to the dealership and pick up Nomad and try to get a second opinion this morning. At least, maybe not a second opinion, but an actual price figure on what it's going to cost to reseal the body, so I don't have to worry about leaks and the rain and snow and all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm back in my Santa Fe, and honestly, for as much fun as the electric car was, I missed this. I like having the space in an SUV. Yes, I am a spoiled, rotten American. For as much as that little car was fun to drive for a day and to experiment with, ultimately it comes down to I much prefer my SUV. Though I would say if one of the car manufacturers could figure out the technology to make the range worthwhile and the price worthwhile, I wouldn't be against an electric Santa Fe, just saying. So a few thoughts on that little Chevy Bolt. Ultimately, I think if you're on the fence about an electric vehicle, go drive one. I had some preconceptions about power and how it would handle and things of that nature that were totally blown out of the water by actually driving one. And I'm an electric vehicle proponent, so don't get me wrong. I think electric technology is the way of the future, but I can't afford a Tesla, and I can't honestly really even afford the Bolt. So the price needs to come down. The availability of charging stations needs to come up. The one struggle I really found yesterday was I do not live in a big city. So trying to find available charging stations for the public were extremely difficult. And although there was a Tesla supercharge station near where I was, the Chevy has a different kind of plug. So not even realizing that I need a certain kind of plug with a certain kind of machine and a certain kind of charge, that created a lot of stress for me as a driver that I'm not accustomed to. It's easy enough to adapt to. It's, you know, there are apps out there, much like you can search for gas stations, that you can search for this information out there, and it's precisely what I did. But I know that's a sticking point. The other thing being, that car drove beautifully. I have to admit, extremely responsive, nice tight steering. Because it's direct drive, power to the wheels was nearly instantaneous, especially if you put this thing into sport mode. The real negative, is where the parking button and how the shifter operated. It was like a foreign concept. And I accidentally at one point bumped the parking brake on the shifter while at a red light, and then had to figure out why the car wouldn't go forward. So little quirks, little, we'll call them user interface issues that I feel like their engineers didn't necessarily iron out before taking this thing to production. But I will say, if you're in the market for an electric vehicle and you can't or won't pay for a Tesla, you might honestly look at Chevy. And for as much as I'd love them to pay me to say that, in reality, it was a surprise that I ended up with that loaner. And while the charging issue is real, because the cord that comes with the car is apparently like a trickle charge, it doesn't fast charge like you expect the 1 hour to get back up to about 80% battery. It could take a couple days unless you buy a fast charger. That wouldn't be sustainable. So I would look into a fast charger if you buy an electric car. But yeah, wave of the future. Really awesome to get to experience one and drive one. I would not be against one if it fell in my budget. I would not be against one so long as I could have the space. I don't think I could possibly comfortably car camp in a car that small. And I'm sure that the instant I put a roof box on the top, much like my mileage dropped in this one, that battery would get nowhere near that 259 mile range that they're going for once those aerodynamics changed. So something to keep in mind. But hey, wave of the future. Let's look forward to it.